I am Natin Ndlovu, and this is TCS Plus, brought to you today by First Distribution. In today's hyperconnected society, a cyber crisis isn't just a technical glitch. It's a profound disruption that can bring business, governments, and even entire countries to a halt. For organizations to protect themselves effectively, they must understand what criminals are capable of, where the vulnerabilities in their own systems are, and most importantly, be prepared for the worst-case scenario where their systems are breached. Here to tell us more about what a cyber crisis is and how to prepare for it is Kejen Pillay, who is Microsoft Portfolio Manager at First Distribution. Kejen, hello. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Kejen, cyber criminals are becoming more and more sophisticated in the way they organize themselves. Could you tell us what you've observed about how the threat landscape is evolving?
Yeah. So basically, at this point in time, everyone knows about AI, right, and artificial intelligence. It's kind of taken over the world. And a lot of what the cyber criminals are actually doing is, and we all know that AI can be used for positive and negative. So a lot of the cyber criminals are actually using it for more the negative effect. And they have found the way to kind of hack smarter, if I can put it that way, and obviously get into any organizational's security posture and obviously pose as a threat in that organization.
So just as we are getting faster and smarter, the criminals are also
100%
in the same way.
100%.
Wow. So if what cyber criminals can do is expanding, it means that how an organization can be attacked is also expanding.
Yes.
So how are organizations now supposed to make sure that they are protected?
So Microsoft always says, and I quote, trust no one and verify everything. So Microsoft obviously adheres to a zero trust policy. And in that zero trust policy, they've got various features that is being used. So things like one of the products would be Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft Defender kind of looks at an organizational security posture and assists the IT admin in detecting the threats before it even gets to a user level. So often what happens is, and if I can explain it this way, the easiest way to understand it is think about your house, right? Your house has a perimeter, and in that perimeter, you obviously need to access your garage, you need to access your security gates, and then you get to your house, right? So what happens with Microsoft Defender is it starts protecting you from the perimeter of the house. So it understands who it is that's trying to get into your house before they even get to the gate of your door.
Okay.
And that's how the Microsoft products kind of work. So trust no one, verify everything. It means that, and I'm sure everyone obviously knows about multi-factor authentication. It's been introduced in many, many ways of our lives. And one of the things that we use very often is Microsoft Authenticator. So the Authenticator app, you can pull in different things, even if it's Gmail, your Outlook, any sort of email addresses. And what that means is it allows you to send a code to your phone or a code to your email, or for you to just authenticate on your phone on the fly in order for you to access your systems.
Okay.
So those are some of the ways that technology is being introduced to obviously make users clever in managing the way they enter their data or access their data in the organization.
Yes. I like the house analogy that you're using, right? And what you're trying to do is make sure that your house is secure at all times.
100%.
But then there is the occasions where criminals break in.
Yeah.
Right? And now you've gone from a threat to a cyber crisis.
Yes.
Could you explain to us what a cyber crisis is?
So a cyber crisis basically means that when a cyber attacker gets into your organization, they hold your data ransom. Right. And what that basically means is that the organization now has to fork out money to pay in order to get their data back. And that's what cyber criminals are doing, right? They're finding a smarter way to get richer quicker. And what is a most prized possession in any organization is your data. Without your data, you cannot continue working. There's no business continuity. There's a financial implication. You have downtime. So what cyber criminals basically do is they lock you out of that organization. So they hack the organization, block you out of your email so the users cannot access the data, cannot access the emails, cannot do the simple day-to-day tasks that is required in order to run that organization. And what happens then is that organizations tend to be more reactive rather than proactive. So now you in the midst of a cyber crisis and you're like, oh my God, now what do we do?
Yes.
So now at that point in time, then you start realizing that security is actually needed in my organization. Obviously, yes, it is a little bit too late. Okay, cool. Lesson has been learned.
Yes.
But again, this is why as FD, we are so proactive in teaching organizations on how to be security smart. So put these things in place.
Yes.
You may not think that, you may be at risk of being attacked by a cyber criminal just because maybe you are a 5-man organization. But cyber attackers don't really care the size of your organization. You can be 5, you can be 1,000. Everyone is going to be at risk if your security isn't correctly set up in your environment.
Okay.
And that's what basically a cyber crisis means, is when your data is held ransom.
And now you have to do something. You mentioned that planning is actually important for once you're in a crisis, and you get what is a crisis management plan as well as an incident response plan. 100%. What are the differences between the two?
So an incident response plan is identifying a breach, and then you understanding what is needed in your organization that outlines the step-to-step procedures if something had to happen. If an incident had to take place, right? In a crisis management plan, it's a strategic framework that basically outlines your broader business, and it's going to help you if an impact of a cyber crisis actually happens in your organization. So there's various steps in the incident response plan. There's things like containment. What would happen if someone attacks my organization? How is that going to be handled? How is that incident going to be handled? What is the recovery procedures? So for example, let's say if somebody has gotten a hold of your data and your data is now sitting in tin, which is like your on-premise servers that are kind of sitting in your back office, right? Now, if you don't have a failover server, or if you don't have some sort of failover to pull your data back, that means your business is going to stop right there and there. So many a times we use the 3-2-1 rule. The 3-2-1 rule is keep 3 copies of your backup in 2 different places and 1 on the cloud. And that allows you to obviously pull your data back down should something had to happen. So if someone has attacked your server on premise, you can completely put a stop on that. Your admins can obviously go and investigate how that has happened, go and secure the perimeter of that server. But while that is happening, you have your data in the cloud, which you can obviously allow your users to access and then continue with their daily work.
So that business actually doesn't stop, essentially.
100%.
All right. But I mean, you're working with a lot of South African businesses. What are some of the mistakes that you see them making when it comes to planning for a crisis?
So I think one of the things, and you know what, it starts at user level, right? We often lack, and what we do is we go and punt all these lovely security features and all of these products into a business, right? Yes, your IT understands it, your CIO understands it, your CISO understands it, your CEO understands it, but your users don't understand it. So what happens is when you don't have that kind of level of training for your users, they don't know what can't happen or what must happen. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, you receive an email and it has your CEO's name on it. And you think, I got an email from, let's say, my CEO's name is David Nell. I got an email from David Nell. Let me click on the attachment. Let me see what he has sent to me. Now, it looks so real. You think that it's actually him because it is his email or his name that is showing, right? But you don't go and look at the email address. And this is one of the concerns and one of the errors that users normally make. That is what you call a phishing attempt or a malicious attack. Because now what happens is the cyber criminal is posing as someone is in your environment because they've done their research, right? They've done their research. They've checked who is the person that's highest in that organization. And if I had to receive an email from them, obviously you as a user is going to think that is so important. Let me open it. But you're not looking at the actual email address. And those are the kind of things that lack is user level training. You don't know what is malicious to your organization, what you need to look for, the kind of documentation, look at the email address. For example, something as simple as your email or our email in our organization is maybe .com, right? But the cyber criminal could be using something as .net or .co.za. Now, you know that my email is .com, but I mean, you're not looking at those kind of things. So user training is so important. And that's where it all starts.
And And this links to, there's a stat I heard that actually most breaches come from user manipulation. It's
100%.
not technical systems that are being broken.
100%. And because you see what the cyber criminals do, and they're really, really smart about this. Obviously, you've got your profiles on LinkedIn, you've got your profiles on Facebook. They go and look for things that are pertinent to you as the user. And then they go and kind of fish you, just as the name suggests.
Yes.
They go and fish you as a user and check what you would be most likely to click on.
Okay.
So your likes, your dislikes, things like, maybe you went on a holiday somewhere and you really loved this place and you went, you posted it on Facebook. Now they found your likes and dislikes as a user and they start sending you things on email. And that is a phishing attack.
Okay, so it pays to be vigilant all the time.
Exactly, 100%.
Okay, so now looking at some of the leading organizations that you work with, how would you say, what are some of the best practices they're engaging in to ensure that they're protected?
So one of the things that companies must always do is ensure that your security posture is correct, right? And how you do that is you start by doing a cybersecurity assessment. Now, when you do a cybersecurity assessment, you're basically understanding the foundation of your security in your company, what is good, what needs to be fixed right now, what can be fixed later on, and what is like really important. So like sort of a green, amber, red situation, right? So you look for those kind of things. And obviously then, so us as First Distribution, we actually offer the service as a value add to most of our customers. And it's something that we do really well. So we will then sit with you after the security assessment is done and then go through the report with you and then tell you all the things that are right and tell you all the things that are wrong. And then from there, assist you in either unlocking the features that you are already paying for that you normally don't know about, or we will introduce new ones to you. And then from there, we will show you the kind of products that can obviously prevent it from happening and be a little bit more proactive in what may happen if there is a cybersecurity attack.
All right. But this is not only product related, right? You do actually help the organization structure itself better so that it's more secure as well.
100%. 100%. So one of the things we actually do very well is teach companies in their user environment to do something called attack simulation training. So attack simulation training is, for example, my IT will launch, let's say, an email with an attachment, right? And we attack our employees, our internal employees. So basically, if you click on the link and if it is a phishing attack, you failed. And then what then happens is you immediately get a meeting request to a training session to sit in that webinar, and you need to understand the level of cybersecurity and what cybercriminals are actually capable of. What is important? What needs to happen? What do you need to look out for? So Microsoft themselves actually do this on a quarterly basis, and you'll be shocked as to how many of them actually fail this test.
Aren't they the pros?
So it's actually funny, right? But also us as First Distribution, and I mean, it's not, sometimes you forget as to, it's just forgetful. You're just busy sometimes. But that's why it's so important for us to always be vigilant. Whether in our personal lives or even at work, I mean, just understand the kind of things that we are clicking on. Even if it is like, you see these links and something's on special. Maybe you see like a night tacky and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that night tacky is so cheap. But then ask yourself, why? What kind of link are you clicking on? And that's how cyber criminals attack you and get into both your personal and your organizational data.
All right. Kejen, thank you so much for your time as well as your insights.
It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. That is Kejen Pillay. She is Microsoft Portfolio Manager at First Distribution.